truly be the golden age of America. That's what we have to have.
America decides and sees red. Donald Trump will become the 47th President of the United States. Kamala's presidential dream now over. The Democrats failing in battleground states. Tonight, special live coverage from the US. Plus, bomb threats, pranks and Russian interference as Election Day turns ugly. Also tonight, watch as thieves ram a southeast restaurant with a stolen ute, then set it alight. Bargain Christmas holidays, the best budget destinations and cheapest days to travel. And Queensland's Melbourne Cup winning jockey's dream duet with Ronan Keating.
This is 9 News Queensland with Melissa Downs.
Good evening. Donald Trump will be the 47th President of the United States, taking out critical battleground states in the election race. Any glimmer of hope for Vice President Kamala Harris now quashed. As we go to air, Donald Trump has 266 of the required 270 votes to win, addressing his supporters and the world just moments ago. We have a team of reporters in key locations across the US. US correspondent Jonathan Kersley begins our coverage.
Donald Trump arriving to applause. The 78-year-old addressing the faithful, declaring victory after all the numbers stacked up in his favour.
I want to thank the American people for the extraordinary honour of being elected your 47th president and your 45th president.
He sensed success hours before, greeted by a room full of his closest supporters at his Mar-a-Lago home. In the crowd, chief cheerleader and billionaire Elon Musk, who on X called it early, game, set, match.
You think it's done?
Yeah.
So then we're done. I mean, are you surprised? Because I'm shocked by how quickly this happened.
I'm not particularly surprised.
Australia's richest woman, Gina Rinehart, also in the crowd. On the streets outside,
Florida is roaring right now.
Yes.
Donald Trump supporters tuning in, and they liked what they were seeing.
Everything's looking good from when I see it on TV.
The first building blocks of the Republican candidate's red wall were falling into place.
CNN projects that Donald Trump will win the state of Florida with its 30 electoral votes, as expected. Donald Trump, CNN projects, will win the state of Tennessee, as expected, with its 11 electoral votes.
Fox News can project that former President Trump will win the state of Indiana.
Trump will also carry nearby Kentucky for
It was early days, but there was little blue on the map of red.
Donald Trump has 154 electoral votes. Kamala Harris has 27 electoral votes. 270 are needed to win.
Judgment Day. Trump's campaign continued until the very end.
Our Republicans, we're doing really well. If you're in line, stay in line. Don't let them take you off that line. Vote.
After 2 assassination attempts, the former president felt bulletproof as he cast his vote.
No, I feel very confident. I have felt. We went in with a very big lead today.
Wife Melania by his side, he pushed back when asked to control his supporters.
I don't have to tell them that. And I certainly don't want any violence, but I certainly don't have to tell. These are great people. These are people that believe in no violence. Unlike your question, you believe in violence.
President Trump does not win this election. There will be rioting. People are going to go crazy.
For these people, this is part party, part pilgrimage. For 4 years, they've been wanting the return of the man they view as a messiah, and they say they'll always support him, no matter what. And in his corner, he had a Kennedy plotting his reign.
He wants a revolution, and I think he's going to get one.
But a victory first, Trump seizing momentum and clinching one of the must-win battleground states.
CNN projects that Donald Trump will win the state of North Carolina. This is the first of 7 battleground states that we're keeping an eye on.
Georgia was next to fall, then Pennsylvania, the oldest person to run for the presidency, the first with a criminal conviction, and the first in 132 years to win a second non-consecutive term. A comeback sending shockwaves around the world. At Mar-a-Lago in Florida, Jonathan Kersley, 9 News.
And let's go straight to US correspondent Jonathan Kersley in Mar-a-Lago. Jono, how have his supporters there reacted?
Well, you might be able to hear it. They are jubilant. They have been singing for the last couple of hours or so, and in fact they were popping champagne corks before Donald Trump had even got to the stage to claim victory. This is a group of people that Donald Trump commonly refers to as the bridge people. They are here day after day, week after week. I've been here multiple times at Mar-a-Lago for various events with Donald Trump, and the same people are here time after time after time, and they say that this is a moment they've been waiting for the last 4 years, and what we're seeing is the outpouring of emotion from that. So while the world looks on to this result tonight, the people here are certainly jubilant that their man is on his way back to the White House. Very soon we're expecting to see Donald Trump make his way straight down this road, straight into Mar-a-Lago, and go to sleep as President-elect of the United States of America once more.
I'm sure there'll be plenty of cheers as he goes by. Jono, thank you. And in contrast to the Trump celebrations, Harris supporters left the Vice President's watch party after it was announced she wouldn't be addressing them tonight. Instead, she's pledged to speak to the nation tomorrow in what seems will be a concession speech to her bitter rival.
Democrat headquarters, Washington, D.C. Kamala Harris thanks her volunteers. In the dying hours of the campaign, the would-be President Harris was working the phones, trying to squeeze out every vote.
Hi, how are you? Thank you so very much. You know, it's so important that everybody participates.
Thousands of Democrats then gathering at a watch party in the Capitol that looked more like a celebration. Held at Howard University, Kamala's alma mater, just a few kilometres from the White House.
We believe in her, what she's doing, her policies, the plan she has in place.
All the belief couldn't stop much of the country turning Republican red.
Donald Trump has 195 electoral votes. Kamala Harris has 91 electoral votes.
When a state fell Kamala's way, a mighty cheer. But she was only picking up those she was expected to win.
CNN projects that the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, with its 11 electoral votes, as expected, will go to Kamala Harris.
And Trump was matching her. The Democrat crowd subdued and showing their disapproval. The former president seemed well on his way.
If you're a Republican, you might be saying, wow, this is a rout. If you're a Democrat, you might be saying, oh, my goodness, we should be worried. No, nobody has broken serve yet.
The exit polls showed Americans were angry and dissatisfied. And here, those were the emotions directed at Donald Trump. What inspired you to vote?
The future of myself, my family, my future kids one day.
The heat was on the Harris faithful, still clinging to hope, praying for a turnaround. The path to 270 is steep, and this is a marathon and not a sprint. But the anxiety here is high, and it feels like Kamala Harris's campaign is running out of steam. You didn't need a polling expert. The faces told the story. Trump moving ahead in at least 3 of the crucial states: Georgia, North Carolina and Pennsylvania.
Does it become mission improbable?
For some, the swing is deeply personal. It must run through your head all the time to have Donald Trump running for president after what unfolded on January 6th.
It's insane. It's infuriating. Maybe it's just as simple as a lot of Americans just don't care. It's not a big deal to them what happened on January 6th. That's the only thing I can take away from it.
The final word from the Harris campaign: it's not over.
We still have votes to count. We still have states that have not been called yet. We will continue overnight to fight to make sure that every vote is counted, that every voice has spoken. So you won't hear from the Vice President tonight.
He promised she will address the nation tomorrow, either to claim victory or concede.
It's not the elite that's going to pay the price. It's people who woke up this morning with a dream and are going to bed with a nightmare.
In Washington, D.C., Alison Petrowski, 9 News.
Ali joins us now from Washington, D.C. This has been a devastating day for the Democrats.
Yeah, it really has, Melissa. Good evening to you. And look,
the next obvious step for Kamala Harris is to deliver that concession speech, and her staff here tell us she will give a national address here on the campus of Howard University tomorrow. Melissa, as I spoke to some of her supporters as they left in droves, they were shocked, they were dumbfounded, and I got the sense that if it was any other Republican rival, they would probably accept this crushing defeat gracefully. But because it was him, because it was Donald Trump, there was this desperate sense of denial. And look, as we go to air tonight, the blows keep on coming. Tonight, the Republicans have officially wrestled control of the US Senate. Melissa?
Ali, thank you. Let's go live to Lauren Tomasi, who's in Philadelphia, in the battleground state of Pennsylvania, which has just been claimed by Donald Trump. Lauren, it has sealed victory for Trump.
It has, Melissa. Donald Trump was knocking on the door of the presidency, and Pennsylvania really opened up that door to the White House, a key battleground state, proving to be the key to ascending to Commander-in-Chief. This has been such a contentious and an historic election. Tens of millions of American voters turning out today, but in a number of polling locations there were bomb threats amid claims of foreign interference and claims of voter fraud.
Long lines, voting in America, an endurance test for many.
Our ancestors and a lot of our great-grandmoms and great-grandfathers were actually, they went through a lot to vote. So it's a privilege to us.
There is, though, an undercurrent of division and suspicion.
Well, we're just watching people make sure they don't go in and out. We see if they're doing double voting.
And as long as they don't cheat, we should win this.
And division and suspicion has meant a massive coordinated security operation. In Washington, police arrested a man trying to enter the Capitol Building Visitors Centre with a torchlighter, flare gun and 2 bottles.
There was some of his clothing that smelled like gasoline, but not all of it. So it's really unknown at this point what his intention was.
DC police were warned about nails and screws on roads near polling places.
Members in the field are to check the roadways in the areas around ballot box drop-off locations and report any suspicious activity.
Police there say they are on heightened alert, and that will remain until after the inauguration in January. The FBI saying it was aware of bomb threats to polling locations in several states, appearing to originate from Russian email domains. None, it says, was credible so far. And that was most evident in Georgia, with almost a fifth of all polling stations in Fulton County alone threatened.
We planned heavily for the incident of a bomb threat being called in, and it's a good thing we did, because that's the only thing that happened today was 32 bomb threats.
We'll just continue to be very responsive when we hear about stuff like that. We identified the source, and it was from Russia.
Similar scenes in Arizona, plus fake videos claiming officials were up to no good.
It's just another one of those attempts, I think, that we have from foreign actors to try to influence our elections.
And in Florida, Jacksonville sheriffs responded to a suspicious package. But even before the polls had closed, Donald Trump made unsubstantiated claims about massive cheating in Philadelphia, with law enforcement called.
Ma'am, what do you say to Donald Trump's claims of cheating in your city?
Pennsylvania and Philadelphia, we are counting every vote.
At the same time, former President Obama urged people to stay calm and to not share things before checking your sources. In Philadelphia, Lauren Tomasi, 9 News.
To the day's other news now, and residents in the rural town of Dirranbandi are tonight holding their breath and watching the weather as a bushfire rages nearby. The town, 7 hours west of Brisbane, was evacuated last night, the blaze coming just a few hundred metres from taking properties and potentially lives.
A small Queensland town at the mercy of Mother Nature.
1 minute it was a little blaze in a paddock, and the next thing, wow, we're engulfed in flames.
A bushfire bearing down on Dirranbandi, forcing local authorities to issue an evacuation alert.
We didn't know where to go. We just hopped in the cars and drove to the other side of the river and camped on the side of the road.
But shortly after, residents were told it's too late to leave.
They just come up really, really fast.
A fire that sparked in the early afternoon soon turned into a potentially deadly blaze, with winds fanning it towards the town of 700.
We saw that peak in fire activity where there was an immediate risk to life and property.
Rural firefighters recruited from surrounding towns and interstate standing shoulder to shoulder with locals using their own machinery to help keep the fire away.
The amount of people who were out with their water trucks, their graders, all their equipment, and they made the difference. They really did.
The fire approached town from two sides, coming just a few hundred metres from properties, with rural firefighters and locals chipping in to help keep the blaze at bay.
Shout out, our community and how well they backed themselves into this particular disaster and supported Youngberry being saved yesterday.
This morning, the evacuation order remained in place.
A watch and act warning message remains in place, advising residents it's still too dangerous to return.
We're not completely out of the woods as far as the fire is concerned.
And locals who'd remained in town were left cut off.
We got no fuel, no food, no power, no cold water, and no electricity.
Any resources that are needed will be there, and that is in the short and long term.
Straight to Pat Heaney, who's in Dirranbandi for us tonight. Pat, what's the situation there now?
Well, Melissa, there has just been an update, and that is that residents that were evacuated last night because of this fire have been told they can return, but with caution. That is because fire crews have this blaze now in containment lines for the first time in the last 2 days. But they are still concerned about the weather conditions. The wind has just picked up here, and it is swirling quite a bit. They're particularly concerned about areas like the one behind me, where there's still hot spots, and for the potential for those swirling winds to really lift a hot spot and carry it across fire breaks or the highway into areas like this of really dense, dried grass. It's essentially ripe to burn. So fire crews will be working to make a dent in that fire that they've got in containment lines throughout tonight, and really be hoping and praying those weather conditions and those stronger winds and hotter temperatures that are predicted for tomorrow. It's expected to get into the mid-40s. Don't eventuate as these residents slowly trickle back in to home and into Dirranbandi.
Pat, thanks for the update. Rammed and firebombed. The terrifying moment. A Brisbane restaurant is destroyed by suspects on the run. Golf course catastrophe. A groundsman fighting for life after his mower rolled into a lake. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu fires the man overseeing the war in Gaza. And at the end of sport, another royal health scare as Prince William catches up with a familiar face. A man is fighting for life in hospital after a freak accident at a Logan golf course. Claire Todd-Hunter is at the PA hospital. Claire, how did it happen?
Well, Melissa, as you said, this appears to have been a freak accident in which a ride-on lawnmower suddenly flipped and rolled down an embankment at a golf club in Windaroo this morning just after 7:30, trapping the groundskeeper who'd been riding it underneath in a lake. Now, we're told a number of bystanders did rush to his aid immediately to help him. Some golfers who'd been playing nearby, as well as a man who'd been leaving a nearby home. He rushed over. That man then putting himself in danger, wedging himself underneath the unstable lawnmower to try and pull that man out before emergency services could arrive. We're told the victim, a man in his 70s, was brought here to the Princess Alexandra Hospital with life-threatening injuries to his head and neck. He does remain here tonight in the ICU in a critical but stable condition. The golf club telling its members in a Facebook post today, our thoughts are with the injured person and their family during this time, and we're all hoping for a full recovery. Melissa, this is being treated as an industrial incident. Workplace Health and Safety Queensland inspectors are investigating.
Claire, thank you. A Middle Eastern restaurant in West End has been gutted by flames in an early morning ram raid and firebombing. Several suspected stolen cars allegedly used in the rampage were caught on security video obtained exclusively by 9 News.
It's a brazen and seemingly targeted attack. A carload of criminals rammed this shop front over and over again. A quick-thinking bystander pulls out her phone and starts recording the mayhem, those inside leaping out, throwing what's understood to be a Molotov cocktail into their ride. And they aren't eager to stick around, piling into a waiting getaway car. That's when the flames take hold. Holy Sparks flying, lighting up the early morning sky. This snap captured metres from the burning business as residents spill onto the street.
You know, you see like a car exploding on the movie. It was pretty much like that.
Sammy Ansabag's Middle Eastern restaurant, the apparent target.
I've been here 15 years.
Everyone loves me, work hard.
Sammy has told 9 News he is absolutely devastated and has lost everything. He says he has no idea why his business was targeted. That's something police will also be trying to figure out. Do you have any idea why these people would want to target you?
No, never. He cost me everything.
Tonight, those responsible remain on the run. Detectives asking for the public's help. Anyone who has seen this car or these masked thugs should contact police. Bailey Kenzie, 9 News.
Cracks are showing in Israel's government over the handling of the war in Gaza. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has fired Defence Minister Yoav Gallant over a crisis of trust. That decision starting widespread protests, including in the capital, Tel Aviv. At least 89 people are still missing after floods devastated eastern areas of Spain last week. Authorities say there could be others who haven't had their details registered yet. More than 200 people have died in the disaster thus far. Avoiding peak prices during peak travel season. The cheapest destinations to travel to if you're on a budget these Christmas holidays, plus which dates to book your flights for and get the best travel deals. That story is coming up. Next, we return live to the US for your special coverage and analysis of the election results so far. Plus, how the winner will impact Australians and our cost of living. The teen found not guilty of murdering mum Emma Lovell back in court. And from taking his winnings to taking the stage, Queensland's jockey joins Ronan Keating in song. Returning to our special election coverage, and Donald Trump will be the 47th President of the United States, declaring victory a short time ago. Live to Charles Croucher in Washington, D.C. Charles, Donald Trump has addressed the nation.
Yeah, Donald Trump just spoke in Florida, calling it a common core of common sense and promising a golden age of America. He said the country will be bigger, better, bolder, richer, safer and stronger, promising to increase, pay down debt and reduce taxes, all while having the most incredible future for the people of America. Here is part of what the president-elect had to say.
Frankly, this was, I believe, the greatest political movement of all time. There's never been anything like this in this country and maybe beyond. And now it's going to reach a new level of importance because we're going to help our country heal. This will truly be the golden age of America. That's what we have to have. This is a magnificent victory for the American people that will allow us to make America great again.
There was no mention of Kamala Harris. Likewise, we haven't heard yet from Kamala Harris or if she has phoned the president-elect to give her congratulations. That speech will likely come in the morning here in America, which isn't too far from now. Melissa?
Charles, thank you. And as we all know, today's election will have global impacts, but how will it affect Australia? National Affairs editor Andrew Probyn offers his analysis.
Australia's unique predicament is being squeezed between its most important defence ally, the United States, and its biggest trading partner, China, which is why if Donald Trump defeats Kamala Harris, there are significant implications for our prosperity and regional security. Trump's once again threatening trade tariffs against Beijing, and Treasury is already starting to count the cost.
Imposition of trade restrictions such as tariffs typically lead to lower growth and higher inflation.
Of course, Australia's navigated Trump's unpredictability before. The trick is to remember he's transactional. If he thinks it's a good deal, he'll stick with it, which is why AUKUS will likely have Trump's support, given the US gets billions for providing nuclear submarines. But Australia will need Ambassador Kevin Rudd to have his ear.
If he can't do the job, if he can't get through the door and have the influence we need, then of course somebody else should take that on. But we wish him nothing but success.
Ambassador Rudd has been doing an outstanding job in the United States across the political spectrum.
Both sides of Australian politics today emphasising continuity, whoever sits in the Oval Office.
The alliance between Australia and the United States has always been bigger than individuals.
Whatever the outcome, we know that for our relationship with the United States, it will endure, it will strengthen.
Australia simply has to make it work.
Prosecutors claim a dozen men were acting in unison when they allegedly drove to a North Brisbane park in a convoy before a fatal brawl broke out. 12 men have pleaded not guilty to the murder of Giram McConnon at Azilmere Park in 2020. The jury was told the 19-year-old suffered a 25-centimetre stab wound, while other people were injured by bats and machetes. The trial could run for 5 weeks. A teenage boy acquitted of the murder of North Lake's mother, Emma Lovell, in a home invasion has fronted court on separate charges. The juvenile pleaded guilty to 19 offences, including stealing. The now 18-year-old was tried for Emma Lovell's murder on the allegation he knew his teen co-offender possessed a knife. He was found guilty of burglary and assault and will be sentenced for all offences in December. Next, it's illegal why foreign criminals released from immigration detention are no longer facing curfews and ankle monitoring. How a Gold Coast woman helped track down a man accused of robbing her at knife point. We reveal the cheapest dates and destinations for your Christmas holiday travels. And a slice of Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip's wedding cake found and sold 77 years later. Financial markets are weighing the outcome of the election, but the Trump trade is starting to take over. Here's finance editor Chris Kohler.
During a US election, the Australian share market actually gets a lot of attention because it's one of only a few open and trading during the vote count. Our market rose 0.8%. The Japanese Nikkei gained 2.3% at the time of the ASX close, and Wall Street futures had risen 1.3%. China is looking likely to cop tariffs in the near future, and the Hang Seng, which is Hong Kong's share market, was down sharply. Trump has also been pro-Bitcoin, and the cryptocurrency hit a new record high during the vote count. The US dollar rose, which pushed down the Aussie. It's now buying 65 US cents, 60 euro cents and 50 British pence. So what does all this mean for your money? Well, most of our superannuation accounts are exposed to shares here in the US and in other markets. Analysts say they expect an initial sugar hit to markets after the election, but then instability caused by potential trade restrictions. And shares are at record highs, so a correction might not be far away.
Checking petrol now, and the average for unleaded in Brisbane is $1.95. Diesel is $1.81. The average on the Gold Coast also $1.95 for unleaded. RACQ says hold off filling up the tank if you can, as fuel prices are slowly falling. A young woman has been held up at knife point while walking home alone at night in Arundel on the Gold Coast. She then tracked down her accused offender, bravely chasing him after the most terrifying night of her life.
He tried to grab me and, the knife was coming up to my throat. I saw it there, and as I was saying, no, please don't hurt me, please don't kill me.
The man is also accused of pulling out a knife and stealing a bottle of alcohol at an Arundel liquor store the next morning and has since been charged over both incidents. The federal government has lost a crucial High Court battle that will lead to hundreds of former immigration detainees with criminal histories no longer being monitored. The ruling found it's unconstitutional to use ankle bracelets and curfews, and tonight Labor is working to overturn that.
Perth grandmother Nanette Simons is still scarred from a brutal assault, allegedly involving a convicted criminal released from immigration detention.
I'm just so traumatised and in fear of my life every day.
She now fears for everyone's safety after the High Court ruled the use of ankle bracelets and curfews is punitive and invalid for asylum seekers with criminal histories. The case, a 36-year-old Eritrean refugee who came to Australia in 2002. Convicted of burglary and recklessly causing injury 15 years later, he was sentenced to 18 months jail, then moved to immigration detention. After the High Court ruled indefinite detention unlawful last November, he was released. Since, he's been charged with 6 offences for breaking strict conditions, which have now been found unconstitutional.
215 violent non-citizen criminals are now free in the community without a curfew, without electronic monitoring.
From day one, there's been a complete botching of the handling of this case.
Ultimately, today's High Court ruling was out of the government's hands. Now, Labor is putting up a fight, signing off for new laws that will allow electronic monitoring devices and curfews.
The new laws will also increase the government's powers to be able to remove people from Australia.
They should be deported for their horrific crimes.
Claudia Vrdoljak, 9 News.
A very rare slice of cake from the wedding of Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip has sold at auction for $4,300. The fruitcake was found inside a suitcase under a bed 77 years after the original 2.7-metre-long cake was dished out to guests. The preserved treat came in its original box, along with a letter from the late Queen. Why Ipswich Turf Club in 38 degrees is more appealing than Oaks Day at Flemington. For Queensland's Melbourne Cup winning jockey who's been celebrating with his idol. At the end of sport, a health scare for the Queen as Prince William hangs out with Robert Irwin.
And an extreme heat wave for outback Queensland is slowly making its way into the southeastern corner. Temperatures in the central, west and also the Channel Country today hit 45 degrees around Birdsville and Thargomindah. That heat is reaching into our backyard. Tomorrow we could see close to 40 degrees for our western suburbs. Your full forecast not far away.
Good evening. Robbie Dolan wants to go with the flow after winning the Melbourne Cup, but instead of using his newfound fame to mix it with the A-listers at Oaks Day, tonight he's heading home. The Irish-born Brisbane-based jockey will trade Flemington for Ipswich Turf Club tomorrow, intent on honouring a commitment.
The stage still belongs to Robbie Dolan, entertaining his new fans alongside pop icon Ronan Keating. Dolan almost stealing the show at the Crown Oaks Day lunch.
His bigger highlight is riding in a Melbourne Cup.
Singing once a career path for the Irish-born jockey. In 2022, he shone on The Voice.
Let the ashes fall, forget about me.
Yeah, I remember watching him on The Voice. He was amazing.
Now he's etched himself into racing history, riding Knight's Choice to victory at Flemington.
They hit the line. It's a photo finish.
A change of tune tomorrow, honouring his commitments with 4 rides at Ipswich. It'll be 38 degrees. He's bringing some hot property.
I don't know if the Melbourne Cup's ever been to Ipswich before.
Knight's Choice is relishing his newfound star status.
Hello, you got me.
2 horses entered, 2 cups won for Sunshine Coast trainer Sheila Laxon. First ethereal in 2001, it was deja vu yesterday.
I just saw him come past me, exactly the same place where ethereal came past me, and I just knew he was going to win because he had that incredible sprint finish. He's a real athlete. I've never known a horse like him. He's a freak.
This freak could next be bound for the Japan Cup. Dominic Loudon, 9 News.
A Titan star AJ Brimson has been referred to the NRL's integrity unit over a bet made on Melbourne Cup Day. Brimson posted a screenshot on social media of a big collect on Cup winner Knight's Choice, which also appeared to show another bet on a rugby league game. Players are banned from gambling on matches, even ones they're not playing in. Brimson is claiming the bets were placed by his mum. Luring Ben Hunt to Brisbane might have ramped up on the Kangaroos' day off. A few players fishing off the New South Wales Central Coast, including Pat Carrigan and Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow. Both the Dolphins and Broncos are in the hunt for Ben's services. Discussions expected to intensify following Australia's Pacific Championships final against Tonga on Sunday. New Zealand admit they're embarrassed to be in Sunday's relegation showdown against Papua New Guinea, but won't let disappointment deter them.
We're excited for that. We need to narrow our focus now and go out there and put a performance and put some pride back into our jersey, and we're looking forward to that occasion on Sunday.
1 year after winning the Pacific Championships title, the Kiwis will be relegated to second tier if they lose to the Kumuls. Former Wallabies captain Will Skelton has been back in the national setup only for a few days, but can already feel the strong influence Joe Schmidt is having as coach.
I can already see the attention to detail, the work rate, our collision work as well. That's what we're trying to pride ourselves on, especially this week against a class team who's ready for a response.
England have won 10 of the past 11 tests against Australia. This year's AFLW Grand Final will be held under lights for the first time, and night deciders locked in for Saturday, November 30, with the venue to be confirmed. Playing in the historic match, providing extra motivation for the Lions in their opening finals clash against the Hawks.
They're a good outfit. They finished second on the ladder, focus on our strengths and our weapons and really carry that into the weekend.
Last year's Grand Final was held at 2:30 in the afternoon, the latest start time in the competition's history. Former Test opener David Warner is endorsing Nathan McSweeney to replace him at the top of the order for Australia's 5-Test series against India. The Queenslander named to open the batting for the first time in the second Australia A game at the MCG starting tomorrow.
Looks a complete player, and I think he's a good fit with Uzi at the top of the order, which I think that's where Sammy Constance comes into it, potentially in a year's time if Uzi hangs up the boots.
The Heat's WBBL side will remain in Perth, playing Sydney Thunder tomorrow. Brisbane hoping to atone for back-to-back defeats, the latest a 28-run loss to the Scorchers. This time last week, Emmett Nah was finishing a shift as a disability support worker. Now, the 30-year-old is preparing to make his Bullets debut. The former Illawarra Hawk coming to Brisbane as a replacement player for the injured Sam McDaniel.
It was a bit sort of unexpected or out of the blue for me, but once I got the opportunity, it was just amazing. And
Nah will provide backup for starting point guard and Bullets captain Mitch Norton, who plays his 350th NBL match tomorrow night against Melbourne United. The shock results in the Champions League. Heavyweights Manchester City stunned 4-1 by Sporting Lisbon. The City superstar Erling Haaland missing a penalty to add to the misery. Defending champions Real Madrid lost 3-1 to AC Milan, but Liverpool is flying. The Reds on top of the competition table after 4-0 thumping of Leverkusen. Melissa, the Racing Carnival continues right here on 9 tomorrow. It's Oaks Day, 11 o'clock.
A good one. Jono, thank you. An announcement from Buckingham Palace today. The Queen has been forced to cancel upcoming engagements due to illness. While Her Royal Highness rests, Prince William has been busy meeting with one of Australia's most familiar faces in Cape Town.
Prince William and the wildlife warrior.
Well, g'day, it's Robert here with, of course, Prince William. Lovely to see you.
You too, Robert.
How are you enjoying South Africa so far?
The future king and son of the croc hunter together in picturesque Cape Town, promoting conservation. The Prince of Wales' trip to South Africa set to culminate with the Earthshot Prize awards ceremony in a few hours. It's a global environment award, of which Robert Irwin is an ambassador.
Do you have a favourite African animal?
Oh,
it's a tough question.
It's a really tough question, and my children ask me this regularly. I think I'm going to have to say the cheetah.
Cheetahs, okay.
Cheetahs.
Very cool, very cool.
As William's busy tour continues, his stepmother has been told by doctors to rest. Days after returning home from the Australian Royal Tour, Queen Camilla is unwell with a chest infection. As a result, the Queen has pulled out of public engagements for the rest of the week, including a reception here at the Palace for Great Britain's Olympians and Paralympians. It's believed Her Royal Highness is resting up at home with the King by her side. In London, Jessica Millward, 9 News.
In just 3 minutes, how to get the best deals during peak travel season, the cheapest destinations to go to and dates to travel on to make the most of your festive budget. That is just moments away. First, though, Garry's back with a quick check on the weather. Gaz, it is starting to heat up in the southeast.
Oh, absolutely, Melissa. A low-intensity heat wave currently for southeast Queensland, but temperatures still set to rise. Tomorrow, we could go close to 40 degrees for some of our western suburbs. Friday will be the hottest day of the week, but the heat's sticking around into the weekend as well. Wait till you see those temps forecast in your 7-day forecast up next.
If you want to get away these Christmas holidays for a break or to visit family and friends, there are plenty of ways to do it on a budget. The secret is choosing the right day to fly and the right location.
Whether it's an inner-city escape, a wilderness adventure or a tropical getaway, by December the travel bug will be biting many of us. But that doesn't mean you have to get stung by the peak season prices.
It is never too late to get a great deal for Christmas, as long as you're flexible and you definitely do your research. You shop around.
The cost of a one-way ticket out of Brisbane this summer is down almost 10% on average compared to the same period last year. Compare the Markets Crunch the numbers, finding you'll save by departing earlier in the month, with the best deals from the 3rd to the 5th and the 10th to the 13th of December for popular destinations like Sydney, Melbourne, Cairns and Hobart.
If you choose to fly on Christmas Day as well, it's a lot of fun and it can be cheaper as well.
New Year's Eve remains one of the cheapest days to travel. You can jet off to Sydney or Melbourne for a tick over $100, travel to Cairns for less than $150, or head across the ditch to New Zealand for under $400 and celebrate the start of 2025 with a holiday.
So places like Darwin, Cairns, Port Douglas, great opportunity to head up there in the off-season.
Bundling flights, accommodation and tours can also pay off, especially if you opt to holiday in cities.
A couple could go to Melbourne for 3 days, including a chocolate tour for $800 total.
Travel expert Katrina Roundtree's biggest tip for families: go for cheaper accommodation and spend more money on fun.
Do spend your money on activities, making memories. Children love the experiences and being with you as well.
Alison Ariotti, 9 News.
Time now for your full weather forecast with Garry Youngberry. Gaz, how long will these hot days last?
Oh, Melissa, right through until the weekend, at least until Sunday. We will see a bit of a change next week. Temperatures will be back into the 20s, but also some wet weather. We'll certainly need some rain by Monday. And Monday, Tuesday should be the wettest days, sort of 10 millimetres, even up to 20 not out of the question, and then some lighter showers for the remainder of the week. So the change not until Monday, but the heat building until then. Scorching tomorrow, with Friday the hottest day of the week. We could even see 40 degrees, though, tomorrow for our western suburbs. That is the forecast for Gatton. 40 degrees heading our way. Let's have a look at what we recorded over southeast Queensland firstly today, and temperatures were soaring quite rapidly this morning in those northerly winds. It kept the coast a little bit cooler today, where it was mostly the high 20s in the Bayside suburbs. Then the suburbs, though, elsewhere, mid-30s inland, up to a top of 37 in Oakey, 36 for Gatton, 35 in Warwick, 34 Ipswich and Toowoomba, 31 in Caboolture and 29 here in the city. The weather map: showers and thunderstorms over northern WA, central Northern Territory, South Oz, southern Queensland and New South Wales for tomorrow. Isolated thunderstorms over the top end and far north Queensland. Interstate, we are looking at early showers clearing to a sunny afternoon for Adelaide. A shower or two in Melbourne. Late showers for Hobart. Showers increasing in Canberra. A possible storm for Sydney and a shower and thunderstorm in Alice Springs. So Queensland tomorrow, mostly sunny. We're looking at low 30s for Cairns, Townsville, Mackay and Gladstone. 36 degrees in Rocky tomorrow. Sunny and low 30s, Bundaberg, Maryborough. A scorcher for Gympie up to 37. Very hot inland after mid-40s today. We are looking at, low 40s for the north and central west. Longreach, though, 43 degrees. Southeast Queensland, early fog patches clearing to a sunny morning. Slight chance of a late shower and thunderstorm. Freshening northerly winds up to about 30 kilometres per hour. Daytime temperatures, low 30s on the coast, reaching high 30s inland. Gatton expecting 40 degrees. Moreton Bay, northerlies 15 to 25 knots, even reaching 30 knots in the north later. A strong wind warning for the Golden Sunshine Coast waters. Brisbane, sunny morning, chance of a late shower and thunderstorm. 33 degrees for the city. 7-day outlook: Friday 34, chance of showers and storms, partly cloudy. Saturday and 33, Sunday 31 with showers developing later, cloudy with scattered showers Monday and Tuesday. Ipswich, Friday 37, showers and storms likely, partly cloudy. Saturday 36, Sunday 34 with late showers, cloudy with showers for Monday, Tuesday. For the Goldie, Friday 32, afternoon showers and storms. Saturday 30, possible shower or two. Sunday 29, showers developing, cloudy with scattered showers. showers for Monday and Tuesday. Sunshine Coast Friday 33, afternoon storms, Saturday 31, Sunday 30 with late showers, cloudy with some wet weather for Monday and Tuesday. Some relief, but not until next week, Melissa.
We'll look forward to it, Garry. Thank you. And that is 9 News Queensland for this evening. Ali Langdon is next with a current affair. Thanks for your company from all of us. Good night.